Welcome back, guys. I made it back from the end. I made me another sword, and I need to figure out how to turn off the enchants from blue power, because they are way overpowered. Every sword I've made has had disjunction 4 on it, and I'd really like to get something different. There is a mod, we have it on the server, where you can pick what enchantments you want. The only thing with it is that it allows you to repair things in it. I'm thinking about putting it in here, and if I do, I'll see if I can change that in the configs. I still got 44 levels to get rid of. Haven't decided what I'm going to use them for yet. But we have an update, and we actually have a change log for the last 3 updates. So I'm going to try to get through them and show you guys what has changed. I'm going to start with 17, which was the oldest, and anything that kind of went backwards that got changed, I'll try to omit. Like the very first thing is he merged some world event lag in, and then in 18 he reverted it because it was crashing, so that one can basically be omitted. There was a processing issue with the diamond drills. I guess you could craft the diamond drill and then recycle it. Let's see. It says one fixed reproducing exploit. Oh, it's the diamond drill head. Okay, so it's the drill for these. Let's look up diamond and see if it actually gives me that drill head in here. But basically you would craft it using, I think it says 4 diamonds. Crafted with 4 diamonds plus 1 in the forge hammer would give you 5. So you could actually duplicate diamonds that way. And it doesn't show the drill heads in here. And it's going to take all day to actually look it up, so I'm not going to sit and go through all that. UUM berries, he lowered their output, so I'm guessing they must have put out like 16 probably, and he lowered them down to 4. Oh wait a minute, it says drop chance, not how much you get. So the chance of getting one of these off of Transformium is what he changed. Okay. Fixed Advanced Miner 2 running with not enough drilling fluid. That's another one of the new machines that I haven't made yet. Because I like to do a lot of my mining myself, so I don't really need a advanced miner, and eventually I'm going to test. I don't know if it's actually going to do any good, but I'm going to try to make one of the excavators for IE just to see if it'll pull anything up, and if it does, what it will pull up. But this is what he's talking about here, which is all EV stuff, which is, one reason why I haven't made it yet, other than the fact that I don't really need it. But I guess it was running with not enough drilling fluid. Drilling fluid is made with stone dust and water and lubricant, and gives you this drilling fluid, and then you have to pump that into not the oil drilling rig, the advanced miner. I think the oil drilling rig might also need it. I don't remember. But this is another one that I need to get made. This is only MB stuff, so I might actually get into making this pretty soon, just to give it a testing. Made bees less biome dependent. Hopefully that'll fix the issue I was having with clay bees, because typically you can take swamp bees and you can put them over a river and they will work just fine. But these clay bees, I could not get them to work on the server anywhere but a swamp. So let's actually go test this real quick. I hope this is actually fixed. We never updated the server until today, because of the nasty crash it was in 18. So I don't know if this actually will work or not. Nope, still says too dry. And I actually tried it also over here in a jungle, which should be really close to a swamp as far as its humidity. So we'll stick it in here, and all it says is no flower, not an issue with its humidity. So I should be able to grow or breed clay bees over here in my jungle. Which, while I'm here, I might as well check on these. I haven't really messed around with the other bees yet that Greg Tech has added. That's the only one I've gotten other than the tin bee, and the tin bee works just fine in plains biomes, so don't have to worry about that one. Let's see. Fixed crash without RF API, which I have an RF API because I have IE and CoFH core. Fixed CO2 processing. So that one I will have to look up, because I don't think I've ever made CO2. Which that should be carbon dioxide. So let's see, carbon dioxide. How you make carbon dioxide. Okay. Carbon dioxide cell, there we go. That's from Noble Gases, which we had before. And the only other way is from carbon dioxide plasma, and you can't get the carbon dioxide plasma. Now, let me go look at my... Oh, wait a minute. I never got enough of them to actually do the... I got the noble gases, but I never got enough to actually make all of them. So, I'm not real sure what in the hell he supposedly fixed, because the only way to make it is in here. Because this doesn't work. There is no carbon dioxide plasma cell. And that's the only 2 recipes. So if anybody knows what that fix was supposed to be, leave it in the comments for everybody else. As far as I know, I don't need it for anything, so I'm not real worried about it, other than being able to break it down into carbon and oxygen, and hopefully, yeah, you can electrolyze it to carbon, oxygen, and an empty cell. So as long as I can get rid of it when I do get it, that's all that matters to me. Fix some comb processing recipes. I didn't see any of the recipes that were wrong, so I'm not really sure what exactly he changed in them. Lignite just goes straight to a 90% chance of lignite, or you can do the chemical reactor thing to enhance what you already have. Coal ones give you a 40% chance, or you can do the chemical reactor thing. Sticky resin gives you sticky resin, and that's the only thing you can do with it is centrifuge it. Oil gives you oil berries. You can do the autoclave and the chemical reactor to enhance oil sands. So I'm guessing that's going to be about everything. Let's look at the tin one because I actually have that one. So you can get tiny tin dust out of them now at a 60% chance, or you can do the chemical reactor or the autoclave way. I don't think tin had one that way, but I think he changed that because of the fact that tine crops will work that way, so he thought that tin should work that way as well. Because if you remember, I have this big stack of tine combs up here because I couldn't process them because I hadn't set up a way of doing that yet. So now if I really get desperate for tin, I can do that. Let's see. Raise the EU output of hot coolant times 4. This is how he updated the coolant, the reactor, when it's a fluid reactor, by doing it this way. You can put this through a heat exchanger and it will make heat. I'm sure there's no way of actually seeing it, but there's a large heat exchanger and then there's the regular liquid heat exchanger from IC2. You can run this through there to put out the cool reactor coolant, and so it'll put out 4 times the amount of heat that it would before, which means you can make 4 times the amount of steam from it. Let's see. Override of IC2 fuel rods to get access to internal values. That would be the reactor rods here. These are IC2. These are GregTech. And I found out in testing for the server that if you use the IC2 ones, you don't get the same boost as what you would if you did the IC2, the GregTech ones, the 2 times boost. So if you want to do any creative testing now, make sure that you actually create these with this recipe, not the IC2 recipe, because then you don't get the boost. You only get the boost if they are a GregTech fuel rod, and these are depleted, not the IC2 ones. Let's see, did he actually... There's a recipe for it, and that's the recipe to use it. Yeah, he actually deactivated the IC2 recipe for making it. Alright. Raised output of electric IC2 reactor to 2. So these should now put out 10 instead of 5 EU a tick, and then multiply up from there. This was where that was kind of screwed up, and 18 actually fixed that. Also, the MOX was messed up. It wasn't taking the heat boost when you heat up your reactor to get more power out of your MOX cells, and that has been fixed in 18. So everything with the reactors that was supposed to be fixed should now be fixed. Let's see. Lowered MOX heat bonus from 5 to 2.5. So you do still get the heat bonus, but not quite as much as what you used to. Initial port of the GregTech Extra Armor, which I think it's modular. That would be these right here, and there is no recipes for them. He wants people to do creative testing, make sure there's no bugs, no crashes, before he actually puts a recipe in to see how they work. And I hate doing creative testing, so I'm not testing it. And I crashed the GregTech or the Thylacraft server twice. You actually couldn't go to my base area in the GregTech 6 server without crashing and crashing the server because of that armor. So I'm not messing with it until I know it is completely bug free. Let's see, merge more beautiful achievements display. I have no idea what that is. I'm guessing there's an achievement in here for, my guess would be the terraformer, but I didn't think there was a terraformer for just GregTech. And I have no idea what in the heck that one would be. New fuel, new metal, recycling, all that stuff. Yeah, I have no idea what it would be. And that's it for the 5917. For the 518, as I said, reverted the fix from 17 that crashed things, added more EBXL processing recipes. Now, I know I'm going to probably look this up, and there's going to be no such thing. I have no idea what EBXL processing is. If anybody has a clue, let me know. I don't think it's this kind of processing, because I remember him calling it sulfide processing or something like that. So I don't think it's that. Fixed crop processing recipes. So apparently some of the crop drops processing recipes were off. I know iron was, because I remember Axel saying something about that one, where it was actually in the extractor and shouldn't have been. Then there's the fix for the Mach fuel crash, for the max heat bonus not working, and then fixed or dictionary registration of AE2 items. So apparently some of these things weren't or dictionarying properly, which I have 3 of the presses that I need to actually start my AE2 system, which anybody that's big on automating with AE2, you're not going to like what I do with it, because I do not automate it completely. I basically use it as a storage monitor so I can see what I have and get my ingots out, and that's about it. And like small components that I've already made will be in there, and that's about it. I'll basically have all these here that have dusts and ingots and gems and stuff, not my ores, but all of these will be hooked to my AE system so I can see what I got, take it out, and then go and process it the way I need. I'm not going to auto craft with it. That is it for 18. 1 second to double check this here. Yep, that's it for 18. Okay, 19 is the one we're in now. It added model textures for that armor I just showed you. Pyrolusite provided them. There were spelling fixes, because apparently Bloody has been taking English by Bear, or at least spelling by Bear, because he has more issues with spelling than I do, I swear. But if I remember correctly, he is German, so I'm sure English is not his first language, where it is supposed to be mine, and I still can't spell. Rework of explosives. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. If you remember, I was talking about how I was going to use this industrial TNT that I made. I made up a whole bunch of it to put in here to make my Galacticraft stuff. And if you look at compressed copper, it now needs dynamite. You do 2 copper plates and 8 dynamite, and you get compressed copper. Now, dynamite is something that you're probably used to, but you're not used to this recipe. It's now glycerol, paper, and string to make a dynamite. Glycerol is actually pretty easy to make. It's nitrogen, carbon, and water. Makes 4 of them. This is a great component for making nitrodiesel, the main component. And I love nitrodiesel. The only problem is, as you've seen with my processing upstairs for my chalcopyrite, getting nitrogen is kind of a pain in the butt, because the way I've been doing it up until now is throwing 53 empty cells in here, making that into compressed air cells, throwing them in here, and then taking those and putting them in here, which made oxygen and nitrogen and all that good happy stuff. So now I'm going to need a more automated way of getting nitrogen. And there is multiple ways of doing so. Nitrogen. I need the actual fluid. There it is. Recipe for that. You can centrifuge an empty cell and air, which, if I remember correctly, to get this air in here, you just put a pump on the side of a centrifuge, and it will automatically pull the air in for you. Now, in doing so, it's kind of a slow process, if I remember correctly. It takes 80 seconds. So there's 60 seconds in a minute. So it's more than a minute for one process. So it's really slow. And you get 3 nitrogen, well, 3.9 nitrogen, and an oxygen. You can also do it with saltpeter, which saltpeter is a pretty decent way of doing it. 5 of them will make you a potassium, 3 oxygen, and a nitrogen. And I have a pretty good load of saltpeter over here. I've got 6 stacks of it, and you can get it straight out of soul sand. So if you go in the nether with a really good shovel or a diamond drill, you can mine up all kinds of soul sand and just centrifuge it down, and you'll get small piles of saltpeter. That's what I normally do for making nitro diesel, because doing it that way you get oil as well. So you basically get the 2 components you need, the main 2 components you need. You also need carbon, but you get coal, and you can electrolyze coal down to carbon. So you get just about everything you need out of soul sand to make nitro diesel. Just takes a little bit of processing. And then there's also the recipe for where's that? Ender pearls. That's the liquid air one that I originally talked about, where you get 40 of them. So it's a really good way of doing it. It's just really slow. And there's supposed to be some kind of machine array thing that I'm thinking about making to do this, and see if I can automate it a little bit. Glycerol, we're not doing that. Here's the ender pearl one. If you have like extra utilities where you get ender lilies, or if you get ender bees set up where you're making a lot of ender pearls, you can do it this way, and you get 5 things of nitrogen per 10 ender pearls, so that's not bad. And then you get potassium and beryllium to go with it. Not that one, not that one, not that one. So that's the best ways to do it. Now this nitro plasma is something you got to do in a fusion reactor, so it's not something that's going to be done anytime soon. But that's deuterium and molten beryllium. Fused together will make nitrogen plasma, so you can do it that way as well. But I'm either going to do it the centrifuging or the compressing to air cells way still, or saltpeter, or eventually when I get plenty of ender pearls coming in, I will do the ender pearl way, and I may even do 2 or 3 of those. Along with dynamite, ITNT and TNT both changed their recipes. So anybody that likes TNT, playing around with TNT, is going to be playing in a lot of deserts looking for temples early on, because now, which I love this, you have to use sulfuric acid. Good thing I'm keeping all mine, huh? You have to use sulfuric acid and this gelled toluene, or gelled toluene, to make TNT. Now this stuff is made in a fluid solidifier with a ball mold, and the liquid version of that. And the liquid version of that is cracked light fuel in a distillery to make that, or heavy fuel in a distillery, or cracked heavy fuel in a distillery. and that's it. So it's another thing that's going to be coming from oil. So he's really working on making oil very, very valuable. And then iTNT, which you still have this recipe from IC2, or you can now make it with nitration mixture and that gelled toluene stuff to make it straight, so you don't need all that flint dust. This is nitric acid, which we were making for the chalcopyrite processing the sludge stuff for the platinum group, and sulfuric acid cells. So again, another use for sulfuric acid, and that makes you your nitration mixture. So I'm not going to have to do that for quite a while, because industrial TNT is only really needed for the tin plates, the heavy duty alloy plates, and then all the gems, meteoric iron. I guess I am going to have to do it for the bronze plates. And your iridium plates are going to need it, but it's only 2 now. I swear it used to be a butt ton more. Aluminum, like there, it's only 6. Where, yeah, I know this was like at least half a stack to do diamonds. Now it's only 8 of them. So now all that diamond dust I have, I can throw down there. Okay, where'd all my diamond dust go? I swear I had a bunch of diamond dust. There it is. So I can throw these down there with some of that iTNT and make me some industrial diamonds. There was a change to the explosives that are needed for the seismic processor or prospector. And the main thing I like about this change is it actually says in the tooltip what you need. You place it and you activate it with explosives. 8 dynamite, 1 glycerol, 4 TNT, or 2 iTNT. And you use a data stick. So I'm actually going to make one of these pretty soon and try it out now that I know exactly what I need to make it work. That will actually tell you what ores are in that chunk. You place it down, you activate it with the explosive, and it tells you on the data stick what it is you know. And the last change for this update is, I guess the chainsaw from GregTech was dropping corrupted forestry leaves. So now it should be dropping good leaves, the exact ones that you cut. So that's the update. I'm hopefully going to be live streaming either later on tonight after this uploads or tomorrow to get some more work done on my processing array over here. I need to get a few more things added into it, and once I get it all done, then adding the rest of the machines in won't be a big deal. I got the chemical baths in here with the item filters, so I can set what items I want to go in through this way. And so I need to just get them out of there, and then I need to put the way of piping in the mercury and the sodium persulfite. So I'm going to leave you guys here, and hopefully I'll see you in the live stream. If not, watch for the upload of the footage, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.